60% of child sex trafficking victims have had a history of being within the child welfare system. 80% were girls. So, what is human trafficking? According to Homeland Security, human trafficking is modern day slavery and involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. 300 to 400,000 children are commercially, sexually taken advantage of in the United States each year. At least 800,000 runaway children will be lured into commercial sexual exploitation each year. So you may be wondering why I'm even talking about this. This isn't paranormal, so what does it have to do with this channel, right? Well, guess what? So, the other day, I would say last week, I had stumbled upon a TikTok. And I will link it down below if I can find it again. I don't know if I can. And if I can play it, I will. But YouTube changed its rules and shit, so it might make it difficult. But long story short, if I cannot play it on here, this guy, right? His sister, overdoses or dies, whatever, right? But she had a child left behind. And so the welfare system, or whoever, the people that, take the kids to foster care, took the child, right? And so the uncle of the child, which is the guy who made the video, wanted to get his niece from, the foster care system because we know, all the horrors that go on there. And they denied him custody. And so he's been trying to fight and get custody. Now, what does that have to do with anything, right? So when I watched this video on TikTok, I heard Spirit tell me sex trafficking. And I was like, what do you mean, sex trafficking? Now, that isn't to say that, they're purposely withholding children to be sex trafficked. I'm not going to go as far and, state that because I do not know. But the gut feeling that I had received and heard was that there are some that may, and I'm just going to say may, be involved with it. Now, I can't, prove it, obviously. And I obviously don't want to get sued and, project false information. But this is what I'm going to say. I heard from Spirit saying that, child sex trafficking, or just child trafficking in general, is a huge fucking problem, right? And even if they do not have a direct link into, trafficking children, there is still an association, right? And so the stats that I provided at the beginning of this video are the link, all right? So, and all information will be linked down below, like the sources and whatnot. But I'm going to go back to the sources that I had. So, according to bettercarenetwork.org, right? That's where I got part of the stats. So, they say 50% of children sold into trafficking in California are foster care children, all right? Now, the 60% of sex trafficking victims that have a history of being in the child welfare system, that's overall, okay? And these are just estimations. Like, they don't have exact numbers because there is so much going on and so much they haven't caught yet. So please keep that in mind. So yeah, that's why I wanted to share this. And you know what? I don't think this gets enough attention in the media because you know what? They're all about politics and COVID and blah, 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 blah. Okay? I get it. COVID is important. You know, you got to protect people, whatever. I'm not going to give my beliefs on that, you know, but I think we should also be focusing on really important things like child trafficking, in just trafficking in general, okay? So, I'm reading these off because A, my memory's not good, but so commercial sexual exploitation of children, right, refers to a range of crimes of sexual nature committed against children and adolescents, including, okay, recruiting, enticing, harboring, transporting, or providing a minor for the purpose of sexual exploitation, exploiting a minor through prostitution, exploiting a minor through survival sex, using a minor in pornography, exploiting a minor by having her or him perform in sexual venues. Okay? All right. And this is a quote that I got from this PowerPoint. So, being in foster care was the perfect training for commercial sexual exploitation. I was used to being moved without warning, without any say, not knowing where I was going or whether I was allowed to pack my clothes. After years in foster care, I didn't think anyone would want to take care of me unless they were paid. So, when my pimp expected me to make money to support the family, it made sense to me. Isn't that fucked up? I'm sorry, I'm mad because no, this should not be going on, okay? I'm not going to define what, child welfare system or foster care group home is. If you don't know what that is, Google it. I feel like that's a commonly known thing. So, here we go with some more statistics, because this is what we're doing today, okay? A University of Hawaii report stated that 57% of sex trafficking victims reported being sexually assaulted as a child. Prostitution researched in education estimated that 65 to 95% of sex trafficking victims were sexually assaulted as children. The National Institute of Justice states that persons who were sexually abused as children are 28 times more likely than their non-abused peers to be arrested for prostitution. Because, remember this, guys, behavior is learned. So if you are growing up learning prostitution, well, that's all you're gonna know. So, yeah, of course. So, let's give you some things on long-term effects of sexual abuse, okay? And now we're gonna dive into psychology, right? So, survivors of sexual abuse may experience difficulty in establishing interpersonal relationships. Common relationship difficulties may be ability to trust. Gee, I wonder why. Fear of intimacy. Fear of being different or weird. Difficulty establishing interpersonal boundaries. Passive behaviors and getting involved in abusive relationships. Like I said, behavior is learned. If you're used to a certain behavior, especially one that's directed towards you, and that's all you know, of course. Years of abuse may lead survivors to avoid others, believing they are worthless and have nothing to offer. Yeah, low self-esteem and depression. All right? So, childhood neglect and abandonment are other factors predisposing children and youth to trafficking. Some psychological effects may be difficulty trusting, inner anger, hostility towards others, guardedness, defensiveness, mood swings, depression, disconnection from community, family, self, and friends, insecurity, feeling unloved, unwanted, emotional numbness, fear of rejection or the need to please others, runaways and throwaways. That's so fucked up that that's what they're called, throwaways. Of the 1.7 million foster care youth who run away a year, an estimated 1.3 million return. However, 6,300 youth do not return at all. 371,000 children remain away from their foster care placements for longer than a month. 14,900 children were sexually assaulted or someone attempted to sexually assault them during their time away. 1,700 children engaged in sexual activity in exchange for money, drugs, food, or shelter during the episode. Homeless aging out youth. 22% of youth aging out of the foster care system end up homeless. 21 to 42% of homeless youth were sexually abused prior to running away from home. 75% of sex trafficking victims were at one point homeless. 1 in 3 homeless teens are lured into CSE by a trafficker within 48 hours of leaving. Okay? And the CSE thing it's the commercial sexual exploitation of children. Oh, we even have a graph here, okay? The connection between foster care and CSE. So process 1, right? So this is what we got here, right? So process 1, foster care, then they run away or are thrown away and become homeless, and then they're lured to that. The sexual exploitation. Okay. Process 2, foster care. They age out of foster care, then they become homeless, and then they are sexually exploited. Foster care, lured away, and then are sexually exploited. Yeah. All right. So, who are traffickers? So now we're going to get into the whole, what do we call it? Criminal profiling section of it. So, 24% were at one point committed into foster care as a child. You know why? Because most of them, and we're probably going to find that out, had been trafficked themselves. Okay? So, 48% of the interviewees had run away from home due to physical or sexual assault. 100% of the ex-traffickers interviewed experienced physical violence in their home or foster care placement. 80% had experienced sexual abuse as a child by a family member, foster care parent, or close family friend. All right. Oh, look, we got pictures. All right. This is what we got. So, those ones are actual traffickers that have been convicted. Now, yeah, so they gave us little math statistics here on what it costs per person that is sexually exploited, okay? So, one girl, right? $50 per 15 minutes times 20 tricks a day times 7 days a week. That gives you $365,000 a year for one girl, okay? You times that by 4 girls, that's $1,460,000 a year. For 4 girls a year. All right? Now, let's say it's one girl at $250 an hour. Times 8 tricks a day, times 6 days a week, you get $626,000 a year. Times that by 4 girls, you get $2,496,000 a year. This is so fucked up. This is so fucked up. Okay? So, now they give examples of what tricks they have used on victims. So, internet, obviously. So, this is like a snapshot of a conversation this person had with a child or a victim, whomever. So here's the example they give us. So the criminal, because that's what they are. Hey, thanks for adding me to your. You are very pretty, and would you be interested in making a job? Easy money, right? And of course, the person's like, oh, what is it? I work with girls that dance nude, do party dates, one-on-ones, and more. Does any of that interest you? And then the victim would be, I would totally do that, but I'm only 16. Yeah. So, peer recruiting, and here's a quote. I ran away from the group home. I was staying upstate, and one of my friends, she introduced me to stripping. We were at a house party in Brooklyn, and well, she intoxicated me because I felt uncomfortable with it. She put 3 E-pills in my drink, and after that, I was just turning. Tricks like there was no tomorrow. Yeah, no, not okay. So, where do traffickers recruit? Foster care, group homes, like I stated, homeless shelters, the street, alternative high schools, and juvenile justice facilities. Yeah. Yeah. That's fucked. Okay? So, you know what? That video I saw on TikTok of that guy trying to get his niece to bring her to his house, but foster care wouldn't let them, is fucked up. And I don't understand why they won't do that. Like, why? What the fuck? Wouldn't you want less children in the foster care system? Like, isn't your goal to, like, you know, not have that? But I guess, you know, if some of them allegedly may be getting paid, because you cannot tell me, and like I said, I heard it, okay? I heard it from Spirit. Some of them are willingly giving these people or these children away. I shouldn't say, well, they are people, but they're willingly giving these children away. Some of them, allegedly, okay? Okay, NBC News, Fox News, why the fuck aren't we covering this? Yeah, it's because 99% of the news channels are in the pockets of everybody else. And you know what? I can't. Goodbye, guys.